These 20 anime moments broke the internet in 2023. First, we have the legendary "I have no enemies" statement from Vinland Saga. The second season came out in 2023 and we saw a complete shift in Thorfinn's character. He has finally realized what his father meant all those years ago, and of course, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and every other platform saw an over-influx of this trend. We finally see the scene of Thorfinn becoming an absolute punching bag, stud, animated. Moving on to number 2, we have Bleach's Thousand Blood War arc. Although the first part ended right before 2023, the second part came out in July, and the final episode was absolutely phenomenal. It was a staggering 9.6 out of 10 rating on IMDb. Considering how thirsty Bleach fans have been for the continuation of the anime, this has been everything. Perfect. Or maybe that's an exaggeration, but Bleach's final arc is getting that special treatment it deserves. Following Bleach, there's Demon Slayer, specifically the moment when Nezuko makes history by becoming the first demon ever to survive standing in the sun. It is the final episode of the latest season, and as always, you've got to leave it to Demon Slayer to blow everyone away with an almost perfect climax of emotions. Next up, we have Oshinoko, where they simply release a literal movie as the first episode. Seriously, the first episode is 1.5 hours long, with almost an actual season's worth of storytelling released in one go, just as you start falling in love with Ai and anticipate how her story would go for the rest of the season. Boom! We see Ai's creepy face at the end of the episode. Everybody was talking about this anime for months. Like it or not, you couldn't escape Oshinoko, and definitely not the opening idol song by Yosobi. Following this, we have the second season premiere of The Devil is a Part-Timer. After 10 whole years, the iconic reverse isekai finally returns with a sequel. This, and if we include yet another season of Classroom of the Elite, it may finally be the time for No Game, No Life fans to start looking to the future. And speaking of the future, it's about time that we get that Boruto manga time skip, which everyone has been waiting on since the very first manga chapter and the very first anime episode. Similar to how Naruto is called Naruto Shippuden, after the time skip, Boruto also gets a title change. Now it's called Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. This is obviously a big deal for the Naruto and Boruto communities. At number 7, we have Jujutsu Kaisen's chronically hyped Shibuya arc. Animated with the release of this arc, Jujutsu Kaisen has finally become the next big thing. Some would say it is now the shonen anime of our generation. Every single episode was examined under the spotlight. Though a lot of the attention was focused on Mappa, the controversy, and the tweets, they still managed to deliver high-quality storytelling in the end. We're continuing with JJK, but this one precedes the Shibuya arc. We're talking about episode 4 of the Hidden Inventory arc, the one where Gojo returns from the dead and proceeds to declare himself as the honored one throughout heaven and earth. It was simply cathartic. Unfortunately, we can't say the same about the moment we have at number 9, because this one is about chapter 236 of the JJK manga. Crazy how both Gojo's revival in the anime and his death in the manga are both one of the main highlights of 2023, and it was all happening around the same time. Great marketing. Of course, everyone has their own opinion on what they think of his death, but just considering the outroar it caused on Twitter and the other social media, it definitely left everyone surprised and confused. Alright, we're halfway through this list. The next ones are gonna be even more hype. After JJK, we gotta talk about One Piece. The One Piece live action, to be precise. The Netflix live action adaptation finally came out in 2023, and history was made. The anime community's perception of live actions has just never been the same. We used to call them names, poke fun at them, but this one was surprisingly good. One Piece is now dominating yet another entertainment medium. Though speaking of One Piece, 2023 was truly the year of One Piece fans. We need to mention episode 1071, the one where Luffy finally awakens Gear 5. I made a video all about his Gear 5 abilities here, an iconic moment that is said to be on par with Goku's Ultra Instinct, though of course you can always argue which one broke the internet more. Moving on, we have the defeat of the world's strongest creature. Every episode between Gear 5 and Kaido's defeat was trending for days, but episode 1076, the one where Kaido was actually defeated, is definitely the episode that takes the cake. It took 10 whole years between when Law shared his plan to defeat Kaido to until he's actually defeated. Thank you for liberating Wano. We also learned late last year that One Piece is getting a complete remake of the anime, titled The One Piece. This remake will be handled by Wit Studio and distributed by Netflix, promising great animation and reimagination of the Straw Hats' adventures across the East Blue. Though the early years anime has a certain charm to it, the production aims to fix pacing issues and provide a new approach to the series. You bet this got fans crazy excited. Moving on, we have the return of Studio Ghibli. The Boy and the Heron was supposed to be Miyazaki's last film, and then he's retiring for good, which is also why you may not have heard much about this film. It was by design. Producer Toshio Suzuki of Studio Ghibli made sure that no TV commercials, let alone trailers, will be released prior to its release. And there was all this hype about it being Miyazaki's last film. But word has it that the legend himself decided he's not retiring after all. The Boy and the Heron is a beautiful movie loosely based on the book How Do You Live? That tells the story of a boy who ventures to a mysterious tower just to save his presumably dead mother under the instructions of a heron. Next, we have a moment that didn't exactly break the internet, but it really should have. We're talking about Pluto. Naoki Urasawa's Pluto, which is also an adaptation of the original Astro Boy story arc called The Greatest Robot on Earth. And as we talked about in the Pluto video, it is also an allegory to the invasion of Iraq. It's an interesting story with many intricate themes as well as beautiful animation. Now, if you haven't seen this anime yet, please do so after this video. Now at number 16, we have the anime of the most acclaimed fantasy manga of all time. It's Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, and guess what? Not only did we end the year as Frieren as the #1 anime on my anime list right now, as we're over a month into 2024, it's still topping the charts. Even Attack on Titan didn't last that long at the #1 spot. But speaking of Attack on Titan, we have, of course, the ending of this masterpiece. After 10 whole years, the Attack on Titan anime finally concluded on November 5th, 2023. It's indeed the end of an era, and nothing less. Moments like the one where Mikasa kisses Eren for the first and last time, or when Levi honors his dead comrades, or guessing what the boy at the end of the credits mean, all understandably caused quite a few waves on the internet. Moving on, we have something that no one really expected, but everyone was caught off guard. Kagurabachi, a new manga series that also simultaneously has an anime adaptation, games have been given a green light, and fans started swearing on their life that it's the best manga of all time. There were literally people sending the author letters stating that it changed their life, even though there has only been a chapter or two. It's expected when One Piece or Attack on Titan or even Frieren breaks the internet because these stories have been around for a number of years already. But when a totally new series does that, well, that's saying something. Also, not everything you've ever heard about Kagurabachi is true. Next, we have the release of the JoJo Lands. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 9. Guys, the first chapter of the first JoJo part was released all the way back in December 1986. It's been like 4 decades and Araki-sensei is still not showing any signs of stopping. But for what it's worth, this is indeed going to be the final JoJo part. The first chapter of the JoJo Lands came out in February 2023. It's already been a year. But since the previous part, JoJolion, lasted almost 10 years, the JoJo Lands may also go for a similar time frame. We still have a lot to look forward to, as this is going to be the final part of the JoJo series. Araki-sensei has already confirmed that. And at number 20, last but not the least, 2023 is finally the year when Ash Ketchum becomes the Pokemon champion. That's right, in episode 57 of the 25th season, after all these decades, our boy Ash finally achieves his dream of becoming a Pokemon master. Dreams do come true.